Hey there, Christian the Old Man Cycling Show again with another video. Today we're going to be doing some maintenance on my daughter's Look 765 bicycle. I'll give you a little bit of a tour of her bike. She has one of the nicest looks around, and that's primarily due to the hand-me-down she gets from me. But what we're going to do today is we're going to get a really good cleaning. I'm going to replace her chain. Her chain's, the original chain has a couple thousand miles on it. I'm going to take the cassette off, clean up the cassette real well, put that back on. Take her cranks out, clean those up, check the bottom bracket, make sure everything's good there, and then put it all back together and have her ready. This is good stuff to do in the wintertime. As we're getting ready for the season, she does ride the trainer, so it'll be good for her to have it ready, set to go. As always, before we get into the video, I'm going to ask that you please click the subscribe button below and click on the bell icon so you get notified when we have new content posted. And hopefully you find some things that I'm doing in here informational. And let's get into it. Let's get a tour of the bike. So first I'll show you some of the tools and what we have. So we have a new Shimano HG701 11-speed chain. It's got a quick link in it. If you haven't used quick link before, it's a much easier way to connect the chain than the old pin system where you had to put the pin in. I've got my Allen wrenches, I've got my quick link tool, I've got my chain breaker, my torque wrench, my holder for the cassette removal, the cassette tool. This I need to free up for pulling the crankset, but since she has a press-it bottom bracket, I'm not going to be pulling that. But let's look a little bit at the bike. So this is a beautiful Look 765. It's about 2.5 years old. She has a mix of Ultegra and Dura Ace. You can see her rear derailleur is a nice 11-speed Dura Ace rear derailleur. I think she's got an 1128 rear cassette. She's got a micro drive 5034 chainring in the front with her Ultegra. She's got Dura Ace, I believe, Dura Ace shifters, Ultegra brakes. I didn't switch her brakes around. The other thing she has, which really makes a difference, is she has the same wheels as I do, which are these Easton EC90SLs. These are, without a doubt, the fastest wheel I've ever ridden on. I've ridden a lot of different wheels. You can see in the background there, I got a couple different wheel sets as well. I got a Dura Ace, got an Ultegra. I've had other carbon rims. These wheels are just incredible. If you can find a set of them, they don't make them anymore. If you can find a set of them, I highly recommend them. They get up to speed real well, and once they're at speed, they just roll. They just roll. Very, very fast wheel, very, very compliant wheel. It's not a super deep dish. I think it's, I want to say, like 40 or 38, somewhere around there is a dish of the wheel. It's not really deep, but they are fast. They just roll. Of course, got her some carbon cages to go with the carbon look style. So it's really a nice looking bike. It's funny when I ride it, I look like one of the circus clowns riding on a bike that's a little bit too small for me. But she loves it. She enjoys riding. She doesn't get much time now, but it is good for her. So this is the bike. She's got some nice look, white pedals. She likes the color white. Some Keo blade pedals with in white. She has an older Magellan cyclometer, but suits her well. So we're going to get into it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break the chain, take this chain off, pull the cranks, and then take the rear wheel out and get the cassette off. So let's get right into getting the chain. So for those that haven't done with chains before, it's pretty easy. So this is my chain breaking tool. You just put in one of the links, turn it, push the link all the way through, and push the pin out the other side. The chain comes off. Now, one thing I'll tell you before we put the new chain on, I'll just tell you now, like these Shimano chains, they are directional. The way you know it's in the right direction, you can't see it on here, it's a little dirty, but you want to be able to read Shimano going on the top of the chain this way, right? So as long as you can read Shimano and it's right side up and it's pointing in the right direction going this way, you have the chain on in the right direction. if you read Shimano right side up down here, your chain is going in the wrong direction. So these are a directional chain. It's important to make sure they put it on right. It'll help it seat better. It'll help it roll better, help it perform better. So, right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the chain breaker. I'm going to pop out one of the links here, pop the chain off, and then we'll get on to the next step. So you can see the chain's off. You can see that the chain rings are pretty gruddy, pretty dirty. I'm gonna, pull them out and clean them. The rear derailleur, I'm gonna take the pulley wheels out, and clean that up in there. Take the bearings that are inside, clean them up, re-grease them. I'm gonna take this rear wheel off. I'm gonna remove the cassette, clean it up real well. Here's the chain. So this is the pin I'm talking about. Hopefully you can see it right there. That pin is what goes through here. In the old system, when you don't have quick link, it comes with a pin that you break off once you get it assembled. But that's the pin that was holding this link to that link. So this would slide into there. So that's the old pin system. Like I said, I'll show you quick link when I put the new chain on. Much easier, much better system. You don't have to worry about how far do I push the pin in. Do I push it too far? It just seats in there right. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take the rear wheel off. I'm going to remove the cassette. What I like to do is, you'll see I have this basket here that has a towel in it. I like when I take the pieces off, I put them in this so I keep them all together. I also orient them the way I want to take them off and put them on, because a lot of these things like the pulley wheels and other pieces are directional. So again, when I take things off, I'll put them in that basket the way that I want to keep them and put them back on. So let's take the rear cassette off. So if you're removing a rear cassette, it's relatively easy. The first thing you want to do is you want to take your quick release out. That's pretty painless. Just want to unscrew it, and there's a spring on each side. So you'll see, here's the quick release. I'll show it to you real quick. The quick release, there's a spring on this side that sort of sits down in there. So what I do is I just pop the spring back on, put the cover on so I don't lose it, and we're ready to go. Now, this is the fun part, and I always have fun with removing cassettes. So you got to remember, to break the cassette, you're going to want to turn this lock ring. So here's your lock ring. Let me get a better view of it. Your lock ring's right there. This tool fits in, right? And it's going to go this way, but you can see that's the freewheel direction. So you've got to have to use your chain whip, hold this wheel in place, and turn that back. So I'll try to angle this better so you can see it. I always do it with it resting on my knee. First, let me get my socket set in the right direction. Yep, okay. So what I'll do is the chain whip is going to want to hold that way, right? So again, let me get this lined up here. So I want the chain whip to be able to be pulling in a forward direction, like that, okay? And I'll just hold that on there. I'll put in my little tool here and just push against it. And right there, you can see it just broke loose, right? Very simple. Okay, so that's just spinning out. Got the little lock plate off here, and the first cog came off. That's fine. No biggie there. So now, take your chain whip off, and the whole cassette just slides off. So there's your cassette, right? You got your cassette, you got your lock ring, and like I said, I'm just going to put them over here in my little basket with the towel, so I have everything. I'm trying not to touch the rim itself. Don't want to get that all greasy, but now I'll take the cassette, lay it in here with my towel, my quick release, and you can see everything's in there, when the order came out. So, I know how the cassette goes back together, but it's all in order. My quick release is there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pulley wheels off the derailleur, because I want to clean those as well, and I'll show you how dirty they are. So it's just, there's an Allen key on the back here, one on the front here, and you'll see how I put that back in the tray here when I'm done. So let me grab them off, and I'll show you that next. So like I said, you can see this is the back part of the cage here that comes in the back side of the derailleur. I have the pulleys oriented. That's the top pulley. This is the bottom pulley. They're going to sit on the cage like that, so I have them in the right direction. You can see they're all filled with crud. So I'll clean them up real good. I'll re-grease the little bearing that's in there. These are the bolts that hold them on. You can see that this back plate is pretty dirty, you know, nothing that's unusual. I'll clean up the cassette real good. I'm gonna pull the cranks now. I showed you in one of the other videos how to pull the cranks. I'm not gonna do it again. There's a pre-release tensioner that I'll put that little spinny thing in to loosen it up. There's two little hex things that take that side crank arm off, and then you release the little pin. So I'll pop the cranks off now, but you know, it spins pretty good. It's nice, and you know, it spins good, but I want to get everything off there. I want to clean it up real well. So let me pull that now, and I'll have that to show you. Okay, so we've cleaned up the parts. You can see the jockey wheels for the derailleur, the pulley wheels, the quick release, the cassette's all clean. I'll show you putting the cassette on. The back plate for the derailleur is clean. The crankset is clean. You know, got the chain rings cleaned up pretty good. Got the other crank side, got everything cleaned up there. So the old chain there, because I'm going to use that as reference to measure for the new chain. So everything is cleaned, ready to go. I'm going to start with I'll put the rear derailleur back together. Like I said, you know, I took it apart in order so I could put in this will be the bottom pulley wheel, that'll be the upper pulley wheel, you know, the plate's in the right orientation. So you know, we'll put it, actually the plate will sit like this. Sorry, it was in the right orientation, just right side down. So we'll put that in there, and I'll get that together. I'll show you how to put the cassette back on. It's really simple. It can really only go on one way. You just got to make sure you have your spacers right, and that's really easy to figure out as well. So let me put the rear derailleur back together, and then I'll show you putting the cassette back on to the wheel, to the hub. So I'll just show you that, you know, you can see that this top pulley wheel, the bolt comes in from the back, the bottom one comes in from the side, so it's all in there. You know, this is the one thing you'll really notice. If you've ever seen ceramic pulley wheels, boy do they spin, but you know, there's no resistance there, it's spinning fine, that's what you would expect. But when you see a ceramic bearing and you do that, the thing will spin, and it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. But I don't know if it's worth the couple $100 that you have to pay for them, especially at my and my daughter's level of riding. You know, I don't think we would notice that much of a difference, but it is something you really can see, and you really can see the difference. So you can see the rear derailleur, it's all cleaned up. It's ready to roll. Pulley wheels are in there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the cassette back onto the rear wheel. I'll show you how to do that. It's really easy. It can only go on one way, like I said before, but I'll just show you, and we'll do that next. Okay, so that's the pre-hub body. Relative to the cassette going on, I do like to put a little grease. I am a big fan of grease. I do like to put a little grease onto the pre-hub body before I put the cassette on, so I'll just take my grease and I'll put a little on there, put a little on there, and then I just spread it around a little bit. You don't need a lot. I just think it helps things seat better, last a little better. I just like to use it, so just get on there, spread it around, and get it into where the tracks are for the cassette itself. And I think, like I said, it just helps. Now you'll notice you probably can't see from the detail of the camera, but if you ever looked at a cassette before, you know, the way these things are quote keyed is there will be one of these little blades here. I'll try to zoom in and I'll find it. This blade right there, that opening right there, is the widest one. So when you go to put your cassette on, what you'll see, if we take the first part of the cassette to go on and you look at it from the back closely, you can see there's a wider, this one right where my thumbnail is a wider opening than the rest. So that wider opening of that cassette should key right into this opening there, right? Assuming I have it right. And that's how you ensure the cassette can only go on one way, and that's how you ensure it's locked in. So from that point forward now, all you do is you just line up that big key on the cassette. I turn it over, it's easier to see from the back. Find the key, which is right there. Slide that one down. So the first two in my 11 speed, you don't need any spacers yet because they have the spacers built in. Then this is the first single. This is the first single cog. Now again, you can see the ramps on the cassette. The ramp should always be pointed up. If you look at this side of that cassette, you don't see those ramps in the cassette itself. On this side, you can see the ramps where my thumb is and my finger at the top. Those are always going to point up. Again, you know, the cassette only goes on one way, but you want to do it. Now, that needs a spacer, right? So now you take your spacer goes in. You take your next cog, again, as before, you know, the ramps go up. You take the widest part, which is right there. It slides down into place, right? That one's going to need a spacer as well. You put the spacer on, okay? You take your next one. Again, ramps are up. The widest key goes into that part of the free hub. Done. This one needs a spacer as well. Okay, put your spacer on. You take your next one. Again, you find the widest part. It's right there. Slide it on. Now, we're getting to the last two. The last two you'll notice are different. So this one has a spacer for it right there. All right, this is the next last one. This is the 12 tooth. So again, you do the same thing. You find the widest part, which is down here, and that's just going to slide on. Again, no spacer for that one. This is the last one. This is your 11, right? 11, same thing. You find the widest tooth, which is right there. You get that on there, and you slide it down into place. Now that's in place. Next thing that comes on is the lock, right? So this is your cassette lock. You get it started. You know, you don't want to cross-thread it. It should just spin on there easily. And last thing you have to do then is take your cassette tool, which I use to unloosen it. You shouldn't need a chain whip at this point. You should just be able to tighten it up. They do say, I believe, that you're supposed to torque it to 40 psi, but, you know, I don't have a torque wrench that fits that cassette tool, so, you know, I just tighten it up. And there you have it. That's putting the cassette on. You can see it's nice and cleaned up. So I get the cassette on, get the wheel back on the back, and then get the cranks in, and then we'll put the chain on. So here's one thing I was talking about. So I have the wheel in, you know, the cassette's back on, and look how smooth the wheel just spins. I just gave it a light spin. But this is what I was talking about. These wheels are fast. This wheel is just spinning easy. There's no resistance. It's not really, I mean, this is probably going on well over a minute now that it's just spinning along. I love these wheels. Like I said, you know, if you can find these wheels, I recommend them. They're one of the fastest wheels that I've ridden. And on rides like with my friends and everything, you know, I just roll better. I, you know, go downhill better, and they really handle well. And that's another thing. I'll give a shout out to the Continental Grand Prix. My daughter here has the 4000s. I have the 5000 tubeless on my bike, and these wheels are tubeless ready. I have the 5000 on my bike. Absolutely love them. So another shout out for wheels. Okay, so I'm gonna get the crankset back on now. I'm gonna measure the chain using the old chain for reference, and then I'll show you putting the chain on. So let me get the crankset back in there, and we'll show you how to use the quick link for the chain. Okay, so we're pretty much at the point now. The crank's in. It's nice and smooth. Doesn't seem to have any problems, although the bottom bracket is a little older. I think one of these days I'll be taking it down and visit my buddies at Cycles BiKyle. You know, probably get a new bottom bracket put in there. I don't have tools to monkey around with the press fit bottom bracket, so I'll let them monkey with that. You know, you can see everything's been cleaned up. The cassette's on. The cassette pulley wheels are all back in place for the derailleur. So the last thing to do now is to get the chain ready. So I'm going to make some space here. I'm going to show you, you know, my method for measuring a chain. Now, there's all sorts of videos on YouTube. If you were just putting a chain on for the first time, you know, there's hundreds of videos on YouTube that show you how to properly size your chain. But fortunately, I don't need to do that this time. I have my old chain for reference. I'm just going to use the old chain, use that as what I use to determine the size. So I'm going to make some room here to lay them out side by side. And next thing we'll do is we'll put the chain on and I'll show you how the quick link works. Okay, so you can see I've laid out the two chains, the old one's on the inside, the new one's closest to me. So here's what your quick link looks like. When I take it out of the package, you'll see that the quick link actually is going to replace this link, this one right there. So when we go to break this chain to the right size, this is where we're going to break it, because if you look at the quick link, it actually takes the place of that link in the chain. If you can see, let me take it out of the plastic, it'll be a lot easier to see. So again, the quick link is going to replace that link in the chain. So we're going to take it out at this pin. This pin from the quick link will come up that side, this pin will go down through, and then it locks together. Again, you probably can't see, I'm going to try to get close, but you can maybe see that, let me find a good spot here. So right here, Shimano is written on the chain. It's upside up, right? And this is going to be the top. This is going to go from the top of the cassette to the top of the crank arm. Like I said, it is directional. So you want to be able to read this writing and Shimano on the top going in the right direction. On the bottom side, you know, coming from the bottom of the crankset to the bottom of the derailleur, it's going to be upside down. That's how you know it's in the right direction. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break this chain, the new chain here at this link. We're going to get it threaded back through the crankset, cassette, derailleur, and then we'll hook up the quick link. And I'll show you doing that in just a second. Let me get the chain broken and threaded on there. Okay, so you can see I've got the chain ready. I got my handy dandy chain holder. That's nothing more than a coat hanger. So it takes tension off the chain so I can, you know, connect the quick link in. Now you can see that I have two end links here that I'm going to connect. And just a recap on the direction. So on the chain up here, where you see Shimano, Shimano's written right, but there's other writing on here like Japan's upside down. Here's something that says VIA Japan, that's upside down, but Shimano is right side up going that way. And that's how you want to make sure to change orient in proper fashions. But now what you see is here's the two links I'm going to link together with the quick link. Let me get the quick link in place and I'll show you how it links in. Like I said, this is nothing more than just a coat hanger that I use to hold the chain together, give me a little working space. You know, I actually got that trick. I forget where I got that. It was off of one of the YouTube channels, but it really comes in handy when you're working with chains. You know, that way you don't have to let the chain rub on your frame or take it off the ring. You know, it's on the small ring. I've got the tension out of it. So let me get the quick link in there and we'll show you how to hook that up. So you can see the quick link on this side, it's come through. There's a little bit of an edge lip on this piece right there. That's what this round part is going to hook onto. It's got the same thing on the other side. There's a little lip, and that's what this is going to slide into. So what's going to happen is you're going to line them up, and then we're going to use this tool. You know, it's not the most solid tool. It's a Pedro's quick link. We're going to use this, and we're just going to pop them in place. So let's get that rolling. So you can see that the quick link is locked in, that the pin on that side is all the way over. Same on the other side. I'll show you from that. But what you do is you take this tool, you put it into these adjoining links and just pry it into place. And you'll hear it click in. And once it's clicked in, you're good to go. So that's it. Now the only thing left to do is get a little lube on the chain. But you can see, like, just watch how smooth everything is. You know, no resistance on the crank as the wheel's spinning. The crank's still going around nice. Sounds quiet. No kinks, no clinks, no clunks. It's set up nice. Sam should be ready to roll. And I think we're pretty much done here. So this was Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show. Tuning up my daughter's Look 765. Hopefully you enjoyed it. hopefully you got something out of it. You got to learn about the quick link chain, how to connect that, how easy it is. It's so much nicer than the pin. You don't have to worry about how far you push it and then going back and breaking the pin off. Highly recommend the quick link approach. It is nice. They do sell those quick link connectors separately, so you can use them. But again, the chain's on, set to the right length. Everything's been cleaned up. The derailleur's nice and clean. Cranks are clean. Bottom bracket's been checked. Front derailleur's been cleaned. The jockey wheels and the derailleur have been cleaned. So if there's any more detail you'd like about what I did or what was going on here, I tried to make it as quick as possible, not show you every minute step. Feel free to reach out to a comment through a comment in the video. Let me know what you think. And as always, again, I ask you, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. It'll help me create more content, make more videos, get better video quality as we go forward. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of it. Click on that subscribe. Click on that link. And give me a good comment on my daughter's Look 765. It'll get her excited to get ready to ride again. But anyway, thanks again for watching. This is Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show. Peace.